So Caitlyn Clark was a guest with Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe on their podcast, A Touch More, and there are going to be clips all over the place. You can check out the full episode for yourself. I'll link it in the description below. But there was one particular bit that I felt compelled to talk about, only because it echoes a point that I have made over and over and over again. Social media is not real life. And so many times we have all these controversies that happen online that are then given life by people as if they are the heartbeat of the actual fan base or the actual consumer or the actual person at large. And that is a mistake. Not to say they can't be a reflection, and not to say some of the reactions aren't germane to the sport. That happens too, and it's a great tool. But when somebody says something, it goes viral on social media, and then talking heads on TV act like that's the predominant opinion, that can sway us away from the truth. That can warp the reality. And that has happened over and over again, particularly when it comes to Caitlyn Clark, because Clark has been painted as if she is some sort of controversial individual. And I have maintained, you can go check the receipts over and over again, what actually matters is the people that are buying seats. What actually matters is the people that are turning on their TVs. And if you're in those environments, you don't hear none of that BS and garbage. None of it. Ever. I've never heard it. In all these games I've attended or whatever, never heard any of that ugly not. I've heard people come up to me and, in real life and said, why is Caitlyn Clark getting beat up on the court? Or do players really hate Caitlyn Clark? That kind of stuff does, get there. And some of that stuff is because of what has happened on the floor, right? Like on the basketball court. But I'm talking about, when you get even further beyond that into some of the ugliness of social media and Caitlyn Clark being cast as some sort of figure for hate and the race debates that have taken place and all that nonsense that I've never heard people talk about for the most part when they're cheering and up and rooting and getting invested in a basketball game, because I've always said that's what her popularity is based on, the basketball aspect of things. That's the real story. And it's really the story that why are the WNBA players being able to fight for more pay? Because the league is more popular now. Not because somebody was typing something and it got amplified. Or, look at the mistake of social media being treated like real life around the Fever fans on the opener. So I thought it was kind of cool to see Cece echo that sentiment. And here's what she said about that when joining the show.
Well, I think first, you have to remember like social media is just like such a false perception of reality. And even for myself, like you don't always realize that at times, like it's not the real world. And, when you're in a position of, people are going to love you, people aren't going to like you. But I think when I show up to arenas, those are the moments that like really remind me of like how many people are really there supporting you and loving you. Like the little boys and the little girls, those are the people that are on social media, like caring about every decision you make or every comment you make. But also at the same time, I feel like I just try to show up every single day and be myself and approach it that way and just be authentically me. And whether that's hard questions or hard moments, whatever it is, I think you kind of just take it as it goes. And I always try to remind myself how lucky I am to be here and be in this position too. Like there would be so many people that would kill to be in my shoes. So, there's gonna be hard moments, but at the same time, there's been a lot of really good moments too. So, that's kind of what I just try to remind myself, honestly.
So, again, she absolutely nails it there. And the truth of the matter is Caitlyn Clark is universally beloved. You don't get as popular as she has without people of all races, genders, ages celebrating you. And that doesn't mean she doesn't have people who dislike her or root against her, but at large, you can't fake that funk, right? It's right in front of all of us. But then when she talks about tough times, obviously she's going through one now. I mentioned this on the live earlier, but the Fever had practice again today. No update from Stephanie White. Sort of echoed what she said yesterday about Caitlyn Clark seeing doctors and being evaluated. This is the comments from yesterday.
Well, I haven't seen C since the game last night, but I think she's progressing. I think that we're continuing to address everything that needs to be addressed. She's gonna see some doctors and get some more tests run early in the week. I don't expect her to be available on Tuesday, so we're just going to continue to take it one day at a time and let her get her evaluations early this week, and then once we've done that, hopefully we'll have more of a clear line of what it looks like.
She is making the trip to New York. That's the one bit of news that came out of today. And White said she was seeing doctors today and tomorrow. So I don't know if that means she's seeing doctors in New York. I don't know if that means she's getting second opinions, all that. My best guess has been it's one of two scenarios. They're going to try and rehab it just like the last one and get her back sooner rather than later, or they're going to shut her down for a more prolonged period of time to try to have her ready for the stretch run. And she's probably getting as many opinions as possible and as much up-to-date evaluation as possible because it has been a week since the injury. So that's the way I see that. Of course, the Fever headed to Brooklyn to face the New York Liberty, who just got bolstered. Now, this won't impact the game against the Fever because I can't imagine all this will be cleared up by then. But still, the rich get richer as the Liberty sign Emma Meesseman to a deal that is she has to go through the visa application process. But she is a former WNBA Finals MVP. She's killed it internationally for the Belgian team. I believe she led the Olympics in scoring. So a huge boost for what was already a super team. I think you could call the Liberty because you have Jonquel Jones, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu. I think Leonie Fibic is one of the best role players, super level role players in the WNBA. They obviously brought in Natasha Cloud, who's a pretty darn good player. And now you bring in a player who was talked about as kind of the most sought after still remaining free agent who's able to spread the floor and score in a variety of ways and is proven on the WNBA side. So 6'4" as well. The rich get richer. Very productive WNBA career. WNBA Finals MVP for Washington. Yeah, led all women's basketball players 23 points per game for Belgium. So what do you say about the New York Liberty other than look out? I mean, that's a stacked squad indeed. And it goes to show you how well that they have the advantage of being New York, but how well that organization is run. Definitely a top tier organization, top to bottom. I don't even know how her playing time is going to work out. Jonquel Jones is supposed to be back for the second half of the season for the Liberty as well. We will see when Caitlyn Clark gets back for the Indiana Fever. I mean, it's that delicate balance of wanting her back as quickly as possible and as healthy as possible, but is it even possible for her to get healthy this season and salvaging the season? All these things, all these factors come into play. And of course, with Caitlyn, there's also this pressure from a sense, given what she means to the league, because look, a lot of the attention the WNBA pay stuff got is because she was wearing that shirt, which brings us back to the social media at the beginning. Her impact definitely outweighs some tweets.